taking three.
Going for the St. Louis now.
Oh no!
Son of a bitch.
You get your two?
Yeah. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thotgor here, of course, and today we are going to take a look at another battle in the Hindenburg, but we're also going to talk about the new patch, because of course patch 0.5.8 has come out today and made some pretty significant changes to the game here, especially considering, there's a whole new game mode. Now, I have played ships all day, all morning, on all afternoon, trying to get into a bastion game mode so that we could actually show off a bastion game mode in today's video, but it didn't happen. My understanding is that it's tiers 8 to 10, so that's what I was playing. Didn't never happen, but I was in the Hindenburg, and I did get this map, Islands of Ice, right? And we can see the changes that they've made to Islands of Ice now as well, which is hopefully going to make the map a whole lot better, because before it was terrible. I hated this map. It was awful. The way the points were spaced and positioned, it was just awful. Now, I mean, it's a little more conventional, right? We've got our points all in the middle of the map here, A, B, and C. There's not big, gigantic gaps between the northern point, the middle, and the south point, so this is nice as well. And as well in the game, you might notice there, Thotgor is in the game as well. Just pure coincidence there, but awesome. So anyway, another new thing as well, obviously, that was mentioned today, not in today's patch, the changes, but Wargaming has also announced upcoming German battleships. So they've released the tech tree for the German battleships. Now, not really a big surprise on the tech tree in terms of what ships were going to appear. I mean, I sort of knew and figured where the Germans were going to go with their battleships. My big question was the tier 9 and 10. What were those ships going to be? And now we have the names of the ships. The class of the ship, though, those are the H-class ships. I'm not 100% sure, though. The tier 9 is the Frederick Gross, I believe. I'm not 100% sure if that is the H39 or the H41 version, and then the tier 10, I don't know, right, if that's H42 or H40. Was there an H42, H43, maybe H44? So not 100% sure. I'm definitely positive that it's not going to be H44, because that battleship would have been way too overpowered, I believe. It would have been on par, or sorry, it would have been more than what we see and what we get out of the Yamato at this point in time. So it's probably the H39 and the H41. But anyway, interesting to see. And I looked up all of the German battleships that they have announced, or at least put information out about, at least the names, and they're all actually legitimate battleships that would have existed, except for, of course, the tier 9 and tier 10. Those ones didn't, because the tier 1, 2, 3, or sorry, it starts at tier 3, so the tier 3, 4, and 5, I believe, served in World War I, and then at tier 7 we have the Scharnhorst. Now the Scharnhorst, of course, is actually a battleship, but a battle cruiser, but it does definitely make sense that it's there, appearing at tier 7, because the Scharnhorst and the guys now, they were both commissioned and built before the Bismarck class battleship, which of course appears at tier 8, and then we move into 9 and 10 with the paper battleships, if you will. So interesting to see there as well, that they were able to fill out the German battleship line with only using the 2 paper ships. It's going to actually be really interesting to see the Russian battleship line and see how they approach that one. But anyway, getting into the battle, I was fairly confused at the beginning of the battle here. I wasn't really sure where I wanted to go, and basically I'm just driving in a circle in between B and A, or B and C. Yeah, B and A, I suppose, because A is the northern point. Just driving circles in here, shooting at what I can. Not 100% sure, where I was going to go and what I was going to focus on. It does look like I have a pretty good group up here in the north, so, I'm going to stick with these guys. Maybe try and help out at A and defend B as well. Look at the chat, the little pink message, right? I like the idea. So they added this in the new patch, and I like the idea of reporting who is doing what damage to whom, right, in terms of team damage. What I don't like, though, is that if you ram someone accidentally, or if someone accidentally rams you, that then spams in chat, Thotgor is doing damage to so-and-so, so-and-so is doing damage to Thotgor, and it's just like, blam, spam that in chat. I think this is an oversight on Wargaming's behalf. They need to add some sort of filter to that. I know, obviously, the solution is, well, don't ram your allies, but, there are situations, I ram enough people, unintentionally, obviously, but there are definitely situations that I come across quite significantly, and anyone who watches the channel here, you probably regularly see me run into people, or people run into me, where I'm not paying attention, right, and I ram someone. Now, conversely, that happens often enough where someone on my team isn't paying attention and rams me. So I just think a little filter needs to be put there, because if you're trying to type something important in chat and all of a sudden you get this spamming in chat, that's just gone. That's gone. You don't see it. So it can be quite annoying, and a simple filter I think is going to fix that. But new patch, so obviously there's going to be some bugs to work out here, things to change, right? In the Hindenburg, obviously, right, when we're watching this battle unfold, I was just really, really happy to see the amount of damage that I'm able to dish out to this rune in such quick succession. It's really quite amazing. Now, obviously, some of the other changes that have been made in this patch, you can see we do now have a damage indicator by default in the game, and you'll notice as well that when I was landing hits, some of the changes to the ribbons that we see now as well, right, it clearly distinguishes now whether your shot was an over penetration, a ricochet, if it did good damage. It took me a while to get used to that black citadel ribbon. I'm so used to seeing a yellow citadel ribbon, right? Like when I saw the black one, I was like, what did I just do here? What happened? But yeah, some nice improvements here, just breaking it down more so you understand more at what your shots are doing when they're landing on the enemy target, right? Like, for example, the shots I put in on the destroyer there, they did decent damage, but those were over penetrations that we saw based on the symbol of the ribbon, so nice to see. And it's also very nice to have the damage counter in the game by default. I love having Aslan's mod pack and whatnot, but to be honest, the only thing I used in the mod pack was the damage counter and game timer. That was the only thing I really used. I wasn't really too interested in anything else. I'm still going to get Aslan's because there are some things that I'm interested in seeing, specifically, like the cones, the circles around your smoke, and then there's a new destroyer mod as well, or a new torpedo mod as well I want to take a look at. But whatever, for now, with the default game, very happy that, at least the damage counter is in the game. You can see in the battle so far that it's not going too well. It's even in terms of ships that we've destroyed, but we've only managed to take the A point. We lost the B point, and the enemy does have a lead in overall points, but it's not a significant lead. So we're going to try and get in here and do a bit of damage. So I do manage to take out that enemy destroyer, sheer luck, but enemy destroyer is gone. Now, this isn't, I've only had the Hindenburg for a little while now, so I'm obviously still getting used to the ship, and this was a perfect opportunity for me. I was thinking to test out close range abilities of the ship, right? Now, obviously, I know that the armor on my Hindenburg here is paper thin, but the thing is here, this Iowa that I'm going to be firing at isn't paying attention to me, so I can really focus on the player and dish out as much damage as I possibly can and get a good sense for how much damage I'm going to be dishing out. I do take, pretty big hit there from another enemy Iowa, but I've got an island moving in between he and I, or the player and I now, so, things might work out well. So I'm going to go straight on to this enemy Iowa here. I was really trying to take out the enemy Iowa before he gets to my friendly Iowa, but then, taking a look here, it's pretty obvious that these guys are going to be ramming each other. I was thinking even, torpedoes, maybe shooting torpedoes. I was thinking about it, contemplating it, like, no, they're going to ram, there they go, they're gone. But we do still have, quite a few enemy battleships here. So I've got this enemy Iowa. I'm going to launch my torpedoes off well within my torpedo range, and it's going to give me a good indication as well, is how effective is the Hindenburg at close range, like I'd mentioned. So far, holding up pretty well, doing some pretty good damage, and then lots of damage from this enemy North Carolina. So we're going to start pumping away at the North Carolina. He's really close. I don't really have to lead the target much, and all of those shots go into the bow bow, and you can see the damage that the Hindenburg is doing. I was really quite happy with it. Now I am getting some torpedo hits. Those are torpedo hits on the Iowa, so 3 of my torpedoes did manage to hit the Iowa, so that's fantastic. And in the meantime, we'll just keep plowing away at this enemy North Carolina. Now, because of the hits that I've taken so far, I do need to, disengage. I need to get out of this situation here. I'm not going to be able to survive too much longer, but pretty happy with the close range abilities here of the Hindenburg, right? If you can get in there close enough, and as long as the enemies aren't necessarily all focusing on you, you can do some pretty significant damage in a quick amount of time. I don't know if you're watching the damage counter there, but I was at about 53,000 damage, I think, when I launched off the torpedoes at the at the Iowa. By the time the 3 torpedoes hit the Iowa and I disengaged from the North Carolina, 109,000 damage, so that's pretty decent. So we get some final shots in on the North Carolina on the Iowa, and finish off the Iowa, so excellent. Also, I'm disengaged enough and I was able to get my repair off cooldown, so we're finally repairing the ship here as well, so this is good. I've got this enemy Kutzhoff off in the distance, but I'm not really too concerned about the Kutzhoff. I mean, I should be able to avoid his incoming shots well enough, and hopefully my shots that go out to the Kutzhoff will amount to something, right? Do a bit of damage, I'm hoping anyway. Give it a nice lead here, because obviously the Hindenburg does have a pretty high firing angle. Definitely not as high as what you would expect from an American ship, but not as flat, obviously, as a Japanese ship. So I need to get used to this as well. Someone had actually posted in the comments just a while ago, that I should be firing HE at battleships at distance, and I totally agree. I just wanted to see what, if anything, the armor piercing was going to accomplish, and it definitely doesn't accomplish too much. When you're in the Hindenburg and you're firing at battleships that are 20 kilometers away, you definitely do want to use your high explosive in those situations. So we have this enemy North Carolina here, and I was thinking that things are going pretty good. I probably will be able to duke it out with this guy, because it doesn't look like he's actually focused on me, so get a few shots off. I'm pretty much broadside to the player right now, and then this is where the inexperience in the Hindenburg starts to play in. The enemy North Carolina gets his shots off at me. I want to get my shots off before I start to turn, but it's too late. I get into the turn and the North Carolina finishes me off. Obviously there were a number of Citadel hits there, so that kind of sucked, but in the run there that I did with the Hindenburg, I did manage about 134,000 damage, so that is not too shabby at all. My team also is in an excellent position to start winning this battle, so I don't see any reason why we shouldn't actually jump over here to the gearing as well. Take a look at some of the new this was obviously added in the last patch, not the patch that came out today, but take a look at some of the new interface options here when you're in spectator mode after you have died, which is always fantastic. So we're just taking a look at the gearing. Gearing is trying to take out the enemy North Carolina who finished me off. Now this North Carolina is going to be going down, no question about it, right? He's on very low health and he's being shot at from my gearing and another ally ship. So there goes the North Carolina, fantastic. Only 2 enemy ships remaining. There's a destroyer and another enemy battleship. So not 100%, I wasn't 100% sure where they were, but I did guess that they were probably on the west side in between A and B, right? I didn't think that they would be down there at C, because that would probably be pretty dumb of them. They'd be so far away and disengaged from the battle that you're just totally out of position and probably won't be able to do too much. So there we go. I mean, all you have to do, right, is click left shift. You can see the commands there, and we can just take a look using the WASD keys around the battlefield to see what's going on. So I always like to zoom out just to take a look at the battlefield, get a general sense of where my ships are coming from and where the enemy ship could be hiding behind. And there we see the enemy destroyer pops up. So I believe it's a Fubuki, so my ships, my ally ships immediately start engaging this guy, even though the Fubuki does pop some smoke here, as we can see. Not too big of a concern for my allies, obviously. They managed to keep him spotted, which is fantastic. I mean, we do have some ships that are really close to him, right? 2 battleships and 2 cruisers, in fact, that are really close to this Fubuki, so there's not much choice, or chance, rather, that the Fubuki's going to survive this one. Fubuki did manage to get some torpedoes off at my allied turrets. We can see some of those torpedoes hitting my allied turrets, but doesn't actually sink the turrets, so this is fantastic as well. Not too shabby. And now it's just the one enemy battleship, another turret that we see off in the distance, to take out, and we can call it victory. I'm looking around here for the Moskva. There is a Moskva in this game on my team, and I wanted to get a nice good look at this player, or rather at the ship, because in my last video I commented on how nice, or how good I thought the Hindenburg looked, and I had asked, what is your favorite looking ship in the game, and someone replied the Moskva. And taking a look at her now, yeah, this ship is pretty damn sexy, isn't she? I mean, not too bad at all. It basically does look like maybe a small battleship. Maybe, if you were to envision like a modern-ish pocket battleship, that's sort of what this ship kind of looks like. So yeah, pretty damn nice as well. And I'm working, I think I'm about 1 million credits, maybe 1 million or 2 million credits away from buying the tier 7 Russian cruiser, so that's fantastic. I'm going to try and get up that Russian cruiser line as quick as I possibly can, so that obviously, once the German battleships come out, I'm going to start working up that line, but work my way up the Russian cruiser line as much as I can before the German battleships come out, so I can devote as much time to getting higher tiers into the Russian cruiser line, because I'm pretty excited for these Russian cruisers. I was pretty damn pleased with the Kirov at tier 5, the Buddy at tier 6. I didn't see too much. Once I figured out how to play them, right? Because you have to figure out how to play them, obviously. The Russian cruisers have a long range, high firing arc, so you got to figure that out and be able to utilize it. Once I did, yeah, great ships. But getting back to this battle and the Hindenburg, very, very pleased with the Hindenburg. I know I didn't end up doing a whole lot in this battle, right? Like, I did hit a lot of ships, targets, right? At least I got the 2 kills, which is going to help me out with the Masaka challenge there for the end of July. But I was quite pleased with, even though I was only in the battle for a little while, the amount of damage that I was able to dish out. Really, really quite nice to see, actually. So we have some final torpedoes coming in for the Tirpitz, and then quickly we're going to be able to call it a victory here, so that's just going to be great. And there we go. Victory is ours. Excellent. So bringing up the final results here, it's not going to be that much of a surprise, especially now. With the old damage counter, it would be the damage that you've seen, not the damage that you dealt. Now that it's default in game, you really do get a better sense. So about 134,000 damage, which isn't too bad at all. Did manage the 2 kills, so that's decent. Finished 4th overall in the team, which I was a little surprised about, but I'm pretty sure that is attributed to the amount of damage that I was actually able to dish out. 33,000 damage on that Iowa. Really, really had fun going close in with those Iowas and North Carolinas. If I would have just turned sooner at that last North Carolina, I think it would have turned out a little differently. And yeah, I was surprised to see 15 gold. What did I spend gold on? So as soon as this battle was over, I went back to port and stopped the recording. I went, and it turns out that I had forgotten to select credits for the catapult fighters. Yeah. So I just lost 15 gold to replace the catapult fighters on the Hindenburg, which I don't even think I used in the last battle, but whatever. Anyway, very excited for the new patch and the announcement of the German battleships, as I hope all of you are. I'm going to keep playing here. I'm going to try and get a Bastion video up as soon as I possibly can, so that we can also take a look at that game mode, because I'm very excited for that, and talk about it some. Anyway, leave any comments you have for me in the video comment section below. Love reading those and responding back to them. Hit the old like button if you did like today's video. Hit subscribe if you are not a subscriber. And as always, I do hope you enjoy the rest of your day.